Anderson, hey, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super excited to talk to you. I want to learn a little bit more about Arius. I also want to learn and hear some things that you're doing, in the community, because I am aware that you are involved much more than just with your own organization. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But to start with, let's hear some more about Arius. What's good with Arius right now?
So Arius is we're a small business, right? Small business focused on government contracting. But I think what we try to do is a little different, is we really try to bring that entrepreneurial mindset to the customer. We're pretty aggressive in pursuing opportunities and interesting work. We have about 20 folks at this point. We're growing very rapidly. We have several folks that are joining us in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
When I look at the type of work that we do, I kind of structure it as enterprise engineering, computer network operations support, data science, analytics, and analyst work. And so in each of those, we're doing a lot of system engineering, software engineering, data science, analyst support. We have a lot of folks on the company that used to be former veterans. We have a lot of folks that are trained professionally as software developers, computer scientists, data scientists. We're pretty aggressive in our growth. We try to expand to new areas. So we're currently supporting 3 agencies across 9 contracts. I think I like to say we're a little different than some of the other small businesses because we are so diverse. I know some companies' focus are very niche. Our style is a little more broad. And in addition to that, you mentioned the meetup, you mentioned the conference. A lot of that does kind of tie together for us. And we're a big proponent of trying to be involved in the community, especially the data science, the analytic, really anything related to data, either through conferences, through podcasts, through meetups. And it's worked really well. So we've gotten a lot of exposure to new customers, new agencies. And I really like the idea of bringing together folks from different backgrounds, folks from different fields, different expertise, different, even within a customer, different organizations, and help learn from that. And I think we try to do that a lot, both within the company and outside the company, as we try to bring together people for those events.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. Because what I think about, right? If I'm I don't know, maybe I'm in college, I'm graduating from college soon, something along those lines, and I'm thinking about my career, right? And I'm thinking about the next step and what to do and where to be and what's important in growing, right? And not just you don't just come out of college and stop growing and learning. The conferences, the meetups, the podcasting and such that you do, and as a leader within this community, really brings a great opportunity for somebody to come in and have an incredible mentor, right? Somebody that, is passionate about what they're doing and sets this really good example. And, I'll call it osmosis, right? A transfer of knowledge just based on being around that type of environment and having opportunities to participate. So, again, fascinating for me from that perspective. The contracts that you touched on as well, and having, a breadth of contracts gives people an opportunity to maybe play around with what their passion and interests are. Now, with those contracts, clearance requirements related to the work that you all are doing?
So again, a little different than a lot of the other small businesses in our area. We can support a couple different levels. Most is TSSCI with Poly, but we do have the TSSCI. At times we've had uncleared work. That kind of comes and goes. It really depends. We're trying to broaden that a little more. We're trying to get into, maybe TS only. It really depends on the customer's need at the time. But kind of to go back to what I was saying earlier, we're always kind of looking for those new opportunities, right? We talk to a lot of folks, especially through the meetup, through the conferences, that maybe don't have that TSSCI with Poly, right? They might have another clearance level. And maybe it's not because they can't qualify, it's just that they haven't been given that opportunity, or they're coming from an area where that's just not as needed and they're interested in what we do. So I've always felt that, it's not like a missed opportunity, but I like, if there's folks that want to work with us, we try to work very hard to try to find them a way to be able to work with us. So we are trying to expand into areas that would have other clearance requirements.
Yeah, great. And I would also say one of the things that I had an opportunity to learn a little bit more about were the benefits that you offer. And I can say that they are extraordinary. So for any of the audience members out there tuning in, can you share a little bit more about maybe your beliefs and your philosophies around providing benefits and some of the ones that you are super proud of?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. That's something I actually really enjoy talking about. So I have a lot of beliefs and benefits and a lot of views on things. And really what we tried to do is when I look at how compensation benefits and how we incentivize and take care of our employees, I think that a lot of companies are dealing with the same limitations. So you have to put together something that appeals to your target audience and your target demographics and try to balance it. So the approach that we've taken is I kind of call it a little bit of the Goldilocks approach, where we tried to find that right mixture where like our 401k, right? That's 11%. It's a nice percentage. It's pretty high.
Yes.
And it gives folks a good balance. And if you take someone that's in their 30s, 40s, and older possibly, that's a good percentage to get you where you kind of need to be for retirement.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that immediate vesting, correct?
Oh yeah. So the thing I'm a big proponent of is, the compensation, everything should be in the employee's pocket as early as possible. So we don't do once a year contributions. Like there's always going to be a component that's considered profit sharing in terms of the IRS, but that's immediate deposit, like with the paycheck, immediate vesting. Even our leave policy, we do offer a pretty flexible way of handling it. We actually offer two ways of doing it. We call one traditional, one hourly. Most of our employees are in what we call the hourly model. And it really comes down to you have a lower amount of PTO, but you have a much higher rate that you're earning your pay. And really what it came down to for me was I looked at it as PTO is great, but that's really being used as a loan to the company. It's kind of like a cash flow assistance to the company.
Yeah.
And I felt that if I was an employee, especially with the markets and opportunities to invest in real estate and things that a lot of folks in our industry are doing, right? They're trying to get in secondary incomes or supporting other efforts that they're doing. I'd rather them have the money as soon as possible, and they can put it in their checking account. They can put it in the stock market, invest in real estate, do whatever they feel they need to do. So we've been a big proponent of those kind of things, trying to get the money into employees' pockets as soon as possible. We're very flexible with how we do, hours and everything. It's really, we're at the mercy or the limitations of the prime and the customer, of course, but we are always going to be the most flexible of those three. And then the other thing with benefits that's been important to me is we've been very fortunate to grow over the years. So we're a couple years old. We've had very nice growth in the last year and this year. And the way that I've looked at it as we grow, how do we give back to the employees that were there from the beginning or current employees, right? Because I think a lot of folks that are doing small businesses, they realize as you grow, right, your costs are changing and everything. So the folks that were there at the beginning, they came in under a different environment. So how do we get everybody benefiting? So what we've done over the years is guarantee this going forward, but so far it's been nice. We always are trying to improve those benefits. And the first year, even when we were really small, we increased the amount that we were contributing to the medical coverage. Then the next year we increased the 401k from 10 to 11%. And then we expanded our healthcare offerings to offer HSA plans, and we increased our short-term and long-term disability in our life. And then recently we've given everybody their birthday off. Great. So I basically keep a list of ideas as we go forward of things where we can improve. And really what it comes down to is I'm always looking for the benefits that are most applicable to everybody at the company. So what you won't find at our company is probably a lot of the niche benefits that probably only target like 1 or 2% of the company. But right. You will find that everybody can generally in our industry are benefiting from greater life coverage because, salaries are a little higher in our industry, and everybody can appreciate or utilize another percentage of their 401k, things like that. And that's how I kind of continue to see it going. I think there's opportunities to continue to make improvements on everything from professional development to flexibility with those tuition reimbursement, professional development, training, things like that. It's probably an area that we'll try to continue to grow as we go forward.
Yeah, that's neat. What I really like, what you were sharing just about the PTO and time off, and I'm dating myself a little bit, but I grew up on the books that were choose your own adventure. Right. Yeah. So, you get to play around with it a little bit and satisfy your own cravings based on the type of ending that you want, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And the other thing that I'm hearing from you is that it's a very altruistically motivated, view on benefits and supporting of your employees. I think the one area that a lot of businesses can improve in is exactly in that space. Instead of having just one broad brushstroke across the entire organization, think about the different demographics, within your organization and what's applicable at different stages of your life, right? That, if you're a recent college graduate, you're going to be interested in a certain set of benefits. If you are building out a family, you're going to be interested in another set, right? And it evolves. So being able to kind of choose your own adventure from that perspective is really neat. So as far as, growth plans, growth opportunities and such, what do you have on the horizon?
Yeah, so we're pretty, we focus a lot on the customers around the Maryland, and we put a lot of energy in that, but we're looking to expand, and we've been successful, right? So we've expanded into some work down in Northern Virginia, Pensacola, Florida. We're trying to grow in Ohio. New customers, new opportunities. Right. I would say that generally we're always, waiting for a couple awards, which a lot of, companies are waiting for. But we're pretty aggressive in trying to prepare that. I would say that some of the new areas where I think I see growth is more data science. Of course, I think that's an area where we are strong and that we're continuing to hire people in that area. But we're also seeing that appear more in contracts and efforts, right? We're actually seeing the data scientist labor category get called out, or we're seeing the software engineer that is talking about machine learning. There's some, efforts that are coming up that focus a lot on that we're involved in. Enterprise development will always continue to be a growth area for us as we target those big contracts and those big efforts where people are doing things like Java and Java Enterprise. Yeah. But actually, analyst work is something that we're kind of expanding into. And for us, that's even broad, right? That's actually very broad for us because it's everything from cybersecurity analysts to even like a tech SIGINT analyst work. So the way that we've kind of done that is we basically have our core and we just are incrementally increasing that core and that understanding. And we find those efforts that are tangent to the core where we can bring value, where we have folks that understand that. And then we try to, join those efforts and then get folks on that and continue to grow that. A lot of folks might say, like, well, why are you so diverse and stuff? And I would say that we've just been very fortunate to talk to amazing people that don't fit into a traditional software engineer, right, LCAT or system engineer LCAT. We have a lot of folks at the company that their background are analyst and military work, and they've been awesome. They've transitioned to system engineering roles or outreach engineers roles or technical writers. A lot of those folks are going back and getting their degrees to do information systems. So we have a lot of folks that honestly, I'm trying to keep up with the people, right? Because my goal is to try to bring interesting work to the company. And then one thing is, when I was on the other side of the table, when I was, a younger person trying to interview, a lot of companies were telling me a lot of the same efforts and opportunities, right? There was always be like those 3 contracts that everybody was looking at getting people on. And I always found that it was a little more interesting to find those contracts that are a little smaller maybe, or not as known, but they're doing really interesting work. And I think that we've done a really good job with that. I think we have a lot of efforts where when we talk to candidates and we'll say, hey, have you heard about this? And they don't know about that one yet. And then we can talk to them about it and they get excited, right? Because there's the contracts, they're doing a lot of innovation or they're doing the modernization, or really that's where the customer is focused a lot. So, constantly trying to bring in those things is something where I see the growth. But, I said that we're onboarding several folks. Even in that process, that's across multiple contracts, multiple agencies. And we've had a lot of success. We've actually even had success moving people between customers. So that's a little unique. Yeah. We're doing that right now. And, those folks have really enjoyed the work. And really it comes down to, there's a lot of work that people don't know about. And when you start looking into it and you get over some of those concerns that you might have had, like, well, how does that apply to my clearance? Or what does that mean for me and my skill set? And you explain it to them, that they usually get a comfort level. And I think we do a really good job with that. And even talking to like new candidates, I think we've done a really good job. What I like to do is when we talk to people is I really view it as a brainstorming exercise. So if you ever come to us as a candidate, that first conversation is probably only about 20 minutes, really. We're not going to bombard you with benefits and try to confuse you about everything. We really are looking for, is there a fit, right? Is there something that we have and can we get to what you're looking for? Because a lot of people, they only know a certain contract. So we need to, try to hone in and be like, okay, have you heard about this? Right. And that's actually the fun part. That's really the fun part of doing it. I really enjoy doing that, getting on the phone with someone and kind of brainstorming. Like, would you like this? Oh, you don't like that. Okay, well, what about this kind of work? Oh, you don't like that. And you kind of on the fly doing that. And I think I think we do a really good job with that, because a lot of everybody at the company is, technical. Everybody at the company really understands their customers. The people that are referring those candidates or people that are coming to us, I think they learn that we are a very technical company, through the meetups, through the work we do, and they get a quick sense of that. We kind of know what we're talking about when we're talking about these opportunities. So, but yeah, that was a pretty long answer to your question. Sorry, Ross.
Yeah, no, I think it was great. You covered a number of things, and there were some questions that I was going to ask that you summed it up in there really nicely, because I do believe that idea of leveraging somebody's strengths and passions and putting them in that type of work, you're going to have a much more engaged employee who's happy with the work that they're doing. And, at the end of the day, they're feeling good about their role, their impact, a sense of purpose, and all of that fun stuff. So it was great to hear you touch upon that and the flexibility across your organization to do that. Now, I think we all know that it's not, you can't come to me on a Tuesday and I'll have you on a new role Wednesday. But the fact that the conversation and dialogue can exist in order for you to work with someone to transition them and keep them, in quote unquote, the family, right? We'd much rather lose, or somebody from a particular program, but keep them in the Arius family versus the alternative of them saying, well, you're not, you don't have anything else to offer me, so I'm just going to leave. And that protects your investment, that protects their growth, and all of the great benefits that you talked about, that they continue to take advantage of, and so on and so forth. And for crying out loud, it sounds like with, as you're expanding, Pensacola, like, I'm raising my hand, we should talk. And if there's an opportunity for me in Pensacola, right? Like Florida, come on.
Yeah, that's what my wife said. She's like, why aren't we looking at those opportunities?
Yeah, that's right. So. Right. She's going to come to you and say, do I get a choice where we live and do this from? Yeah. So, well, it's been really a pleasure catching up. There's a lot of new things that I've learned, about you and your organization today, and looking forward to continuing to watch the evolution and your growth. For our audience, if you're interested in Arius, you can learn more at scuttlegov.com/ERIAS. Jason, again, thanks for joining us today. And again, I look forward to seeing all the great things that you're doing, both at Arius and outside with the community at large. Thank you. Yes, thanks for having me, and I really appreciate it. And you're right, like, I'm very easy to get in touch with if anyone wants to reach out. We love to communicate, start a conversation. Communication is a big thing for us, and we can help you. And I always tell folks when I talk to them that even if
we're not the right fit at the time, then I'm more than willing to answer questions or help. I really find that that's the best way to work with folks. And you never know, right? You never know what something's going to be in a couple months. And I'm learning as I talk to the candidate, and they're learning. So if I can share something that I know, I'm learning with them what they're looking for, what really is going on in the industry. So so even if you're not looking for an opportunity, I'd love to connect to folks.
That's awesome. Speaks a lot about your